What's up guys, welcome to Voicey here. This is your host Captain Zach, and today's subreddit is r/EntitledParents. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story's called Entitled Mother Hits My Car and Blames Me for Drunk Driving. Long read, beautiful ending. I apologize, but I am writing this on mobile, yada 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 yada. Sorry for mistakes. Okay, little backstory. I have a really nice gray Land Cruiser that looks like a monster truck and it costs a lot of money. Not because of the car itself, but mostly the parts inside of it. I live in a pretty good neighborhood, but it happens to be right next to the most busy road in my area. Also, I was underage when it comes to drinking, so I have never had alcohol in my life unless I was at church. So let's meet the cast. Entitled mother! A horrifying excuse for a mom. Poor kid. Not really playing a part in this story. Police officer, aka my guardian angel, and me, most lucky guy in the world. Alright, let's start. So I get a message from my coworker saying that there is a problem at work and I'd better come over. I work at a computer repair shop, so if there's a problem or they have to call me in, it is usually a $100 or $1,000 problem that requires most hands on deck. So I get out of my house, get in my Land Cruiser, and drive off in a bit of a rush. A few minutes pass and I'm about 3 miles away from work. I stop at a red light in this really busy intersection on the most busy freaking road in the entire country. There are car crashes here almost every other day. One time it happened twice in one day. So it's no surprise that I got into one at this intersection. So the light turned green and I was in a rush, so I was well in front of the cars beside me. Then just as I'm about to clear the intersection, a big red minivan T-bones me and we both go sliding in different directions. Me not as much because my car is much heavier than hers. I almost passed out because of the shock and looked out my window to see who dropped a missile strike to the right side of my car. I get out of my car and it is in pretty bad shape. There is a huge dent right next to the passenger side door and the glass is broken on the mirror. Luckily, nothing else that is visible. Enter entitled mom and poor kid. What were you doing? Trying to drive ahead like that on a red light? You could have killed me or my baby in that crash and we have a very important birthday to go to. I'm sorry, but it was a green light for me, not for you. I had the right of way. In quite an accusatory tone, no, you didn't have the right of way. We had the right of way, not you. Explain to me how you had the right of way. I don't have to explain to you, you drunk poop shoot. Once again, underage, never drank in my life. Are you gonna pay for my car or what? Her car, the red minivan, looks almost like the front of it was blown up, then rammed by 100 bulls and a couple wrecking balls. I am honestly surprised that she and her son survived because the driver's seat headrest was impaled by a piece of metal. Satan is most likely protecting his hellspawn from any harm so she can be the biggest Karen this world has ever seen. No. You are gonna pay for it along with the damage you did to my car. This was the wrong thing to say. Excuse me, you drunk illegitimate child? You honestly think I'm gonna pay for your crappy butt truck that you and your drinking buddy probably pulled out of a trash pile? Yes, Twitch. Again, also the wrong thing to say. How dare you treat me like that in front of my kid, you stupid piece of poo? My darling should never be exposed to your potty mouth. Your mother probably left you for dead because you were the most ugly piece of crap in the whole family and 20 kids in the orphanage that you currently live in got tired of your BS, so they gave you $100 to go buy this piece of crap lump of metal with wheels. I'm angry as nether at this point. That is it. I'm calling the cops if someone hasn't already done so. Mommy, please stop harassing him. He's done nothing wrong. He's done everything wrong. About 10 minutes later of yelling, 3 cop cars and an ambulance arrive. Excuse me, sir, what happened here? Well, it was horrible, officer. This man was drunk driving. Once again, I was clearly underage and ran a red light which was clearly visible and almost killed me and my baby. That is not true, officer. This woman is clearly lying to you. You can see that I'm sober and there were a ton of witnesses to the accident and what ensued, and they can tell you that she is in the wrong. Well, I might as well check both of you and the security cameras. There were security cameras in the intersection that recorded everything. Entitled mother, clearly seeing that she was going to get caught. Oh, there's no need doing that. We'll just exchange information and I'm sorry, ma'am, but it is required that I know what happened and what you was in the wrong, so we will be watching the camera footage together. The police officer found the accident and saw that entitled mother was clearly running a red light and she was speeding by at least 20 miles over the limit. The limit was 50. He then checks us both with a breathalyzer and I am completely sober. But she, sorry couldn't remember the exact number, was the equivalent of, quoting the police officer, having both eyes closed and driving with your feet drunk. They even found a bottle of Jack Daniels in the passenger side back seat half empty. However, the best part is still to come. Turns out she was never going to a birthday party. She was actually leaving the city. Oh, why, you ask? Because turns out she had 3 pouches of cocaine, worth maybe $2,000 in her trunk. Does it end there? No. She was packing heat and quite a bit for my state. That's right, the police found a loaded handgun and a 6-inch switchblade in the center console. Combine all of that and you get $5,600 in repairs to my car and a couple thousand more, or reprimands, 10.5 years in prison, 3 years on probation, and plenty of parenting classes. Not to mention the several $100 speeding ticket she received before they found the drugs and weapons. Entitled kid was sent to his blood father, who actually divorced his mother because of the drugs and her alcoholism. Personally, I wouldn't even call that waste of human potential a mother. She brought her only son on a drug trafficking trip. Sorry that was a little long, I wanted to list every detail possible. My car is now fully repaired and me and the police officer are good friends now and talk about this incident often. Thank you for listening. Also, he added a couple other bits of information. Alright, just because I forgot to say this in the original post, thank God none of the expensive parts of my car were damaged. The engine was fine, the suspension was perfect, and the springs were intact. Also, the reason the kid was with the mom, even after the divorce, is because she was illegally taking him with her. I don't know what she got for that, but I know it is bad. And wow, this story, nuts. The irresponsibility one has to be capable of in order to pull this off, just amazing. Baffling even. This actually happened to my mother when she was picking me up from school. She was in the school zone, okay? She had right of way and she was going across this intersection in this tiny residential school area, okay? And this woman was going at least 60 miles per hour in like a neighborhood street, okay? Right next to a school, okay? T-boned my mom and she went straight into someone's front lawn. Our car was totaled and the woman tried to leave, but she couldn't get very far because her car just died. They checked her for drugs and she was drunk, she was high, she was all sorts of messed up. So yeah, these things, they do happen, and it's terrifying. This story's called Entitled Mother Tries to Skip in Line and Lets Her Son Hurt Himself and Claims It's My Fault. Characters in this story: Entitled Mother, Entitled Brat, me, Nice Girl, Nice Mom. So to set the scene, I work at a large clothing retail store that is 2 stories. The top floor is ladies' wear, the bottom floor, kids' wear, men's wear, and home. It was a very busy Saturday and we were very understaffed, which left me being the only person on the bottom floor. We have just brought in new Halloween apparel in the kids section, which had been placed on the right-hand side of the tills. The tills are set up so there are 2 on a long bench about 2 meters apart from each other, so it is pretty clear if there's a line at one of the tills. As I am the only person working on the bottom floor, there's only 1 till open and I'm on the left side till. This is relevant. As I am serving a lady with a large number of clothes, a line starts to form and I notice a woman and her 4 boys checking out the Halloween section. The boys are fighting over who can dress as a pumpkin and the mother keeps screaming at them to shut up and hurry up. I was already feeling the Karen vibes radiating from her, so I was mentally preparing for her to have some sort of problem. By the time I finished serving the lady, the line had grown very long with only me being on the tills. The next in line was Nice Girl and Nice Mom, who smiled at me, and just as they went to put their items down, the Karen erupts. Excuse me, are you really going to just ignore me? I've been waiting for 10 minutes. First of all, she had been in the Halloween section, not in line, and she had not been there for 10 minutes. Sorry, I didn't see you in line for this till. Excuse me? Is this not a till? Pointing to the right side till, the one that, I'm not using? Sorry, that till is not open as I cannot use both tills at the same time. I shouldn't have to explain that to a grown Karen, but, Does that matter? I've clearly been waiting here longer than these people. It's so rude of you to just ignore me. Sorry, I thought you were looking at Halloween clothes, not in line. That doesn't matter. I've been standing by the tills. The nice girl and nice mom who were in front luckily gave me a sympathetic smile and let the Karen and her spawns cut in front just so I could get them out of the way. It takes a store I work in quite a while to serve people as almost everything is security tagged, so we have to take them off each item and then we take off the coat hangers. As I'm detagging the Karen's items, one of her spawns is interested in the magnet detagger. For those who haven't taken off these certain type of security tags, they look like little UFOs with one side having a very sharp needle that goes through the clothes and into the other side of the tag. So to remove them, we press the tag on this magnet that separates the pin side from the tag. If you've worked with these, you'd know what a pain they are and how often the pin slips and goes into your finger. Very painful. The little spawn points at it and asks me if he can untag one. I have to say no, as it's slightly dangerous and it would be my fault if the spawn pricked himself. No, sorry, I can't let you do that. I will get in trouble. But mommy, I want to do one! You've already held us up enough, just let him do one. You won't get in trouble, you're the only one here. I'm sorry, but the security tags have a pin in them that pops out when you detag them and he could prick his fingers, so it's a safety thing. Only dumb people would prick themselves. I could have strangled the little crap, but I resisted the urge. The entitled mom rolls her eyes at me and I continue detagging. Just as I only have a few more items to go, entitled brat snatches one of the items and began slamming the security tag onto the magnet like a little lunatic. I ask him to stop touching it and then try to grab his hand, not hard, so he doesn't hurt himself. Of course, this sets off the Karen. Don't you dare touch my son, just let him do one. Just as she finishes screeching at me, her spawn begins wailing. And what do I see? His grubby little hand bleeding with the pin stuck in it. The Karen starts going ballistic at the little brat and then screaming at me that it's my fault that this happened. All while leaving her crap at the tills and dragging out her little spawns while yelling. No, the line didn't clap. Okay guys, time to put on your understanding caps. Alright, this woman obviously has really bratty kids, or at least one of them is super bratty. With a lot of parents, when you have really poorly behaved children, they kind of give up and just kind of give them what they want to shut them up. And it's not good, obviously, but some kids require a lot more patience than others. And this Karen obviously doesn't handle the stress very well because she's taking it out on innocent cashiers, but she really needs to work on that because this is ridiculous. And good on the nice mom and daughter for, being very understanding. This story's called Entitled Parent Treats My Office Like a Playroom Napping Space. So, for context, a few years ago, I had a pretty sweet office setup. I had my own personal office at work, tucked away to work from out of the main waiting room. That meant that on even a busy day, my office was my own personal, quiet nirvana, where I could do my work undisturbed. Cue entitled parent and her kids. I'm working quietly away and glad for my space, as it sounds like a zoo out there this particular day, when all of a sudden my door opens. I work with my back to the door, so I assume it's one of the staff coming in to ask/tell me something. No, it's a woman with 2 kids in tow, a toddler girl and a 5-year-old boy. Sorry ma'am, this isn't an area you should be in. And I point to the nice, big sign on my now open door that says staff only on the outside. My baby's tired and it's too noisy out there. She needs somewhere quiet to nap. Baby is the reason it was noisy out there and won't stop howling. She then indicates the boy. And my son is bored. Why aren't there any toys out there? He was eyeballing my laptop with a voracious gleam in his eye. I felt zero guilt shooting him a "don't even think about it" glare. There aren't any toys in here either. Then to the kids, firmly, "Please stop that." The kids had already started their mission to demolish my workspace in the short time they'd been there. The toddler was pulling books from my shelving, while the older one was stacking them up like a tower, then knocking them over. I glared at the mother, who was just letting her kids run rampant. This wasn't a place people attended with kids. Hers were only the second lot I'd seen in 2 years working there. The first was an old coworker on maternity leave, bringing their sleeping newborn to show the staff, so I'm not even sure that counts. I'm getting rapidly annoyed, but I aim for a calm but firm tone. "I'm sorry, but they can't play in here, and with my things." "Why aren't there toys out there or a parent's room then?" "There isn't really a demand here for either a parent's room or toys." "This is discrimination. You have to let them sleep here. I'm gonna tell everyone you hate children." That was amusing, given I have children of my own, but hers were starting to bring me around to that ideology. The youngest was now trying to pull my entire in-tray on their head, while the eldest was busy furiously wiping snot he'd picked from his nose onto my wall. Okay. She looked smug and moves to settle in, to watch her kids go ape. I'm grinning my head off. Tell people I hate kids. She looks baffled and horrified, like I'd sworn or something. "You just can't do it in here. Now I have work to do." And I pointed at the door, hoping she'd leave and take her kids with her, who had moved on to molesting my corner pot plant and attempting to climb my filing cabinets. Now she starts screeching and yelling, "I'm a customer! You can't abuse me like this! Help! Help!" I hear someone coming up the hallway. She tries to look all tearful and points a shaking finger at me accusingly. It's one of the managers. "She just abused me. She said she hated children and that she wished mine would die. I want a discipline now." I sigh, roll my eyes, look at my laptop, and noticed I'd forgotten to pause the recording I had been in process of making when she barged in, that I'd forgotten in the ensuing melee. "Are you sure about that?" Manager notices my laptop screen and what I just did and stifles laughing. She's fuming, looking between us, wondering why we aren't saying anything until I press play. When it finished, she was bright red and tried a different tactic. "You can't record me without my permission. I'm calling the police." Manager with a face like thunder, voice like silk. "You aren't supposed to be in here. You interrupted OP doing her job and wound up on a voice memo she was recording. You've also just made false accusations against an employee here. The police won't care. Leave the building or we will have security escort you out. Now." Where I live, it's perfectly legal to record a conversation without all parties' knowledge or consent. But it was useless for what I had to use it for, so no need to keep it. "I still have an appointment at 1 p.m. "We will handle canceling that. Take your business elsewhere." It was honestly one of the best places to work. The manager was one of many awesome coworkers who looked after their workforce. I made sure I got the office a lovely cake to share on my last day, when I moved on to a job with more hours and less of a commute. Here's a few little extra bits of information. For those asking for the recording, sorry, I don't have it anymore. I left that job years ago. It was on a company computer, and once I sent it to HR, in case there was a complaint filed, I didn't get to keep my own copy, since it wasn't of use to me. For those curious, it was an accounting firm. I was an office assistant, general dog's body. One of the things I'd regularly do as part of my job was turning meeting minutes into voice memos for my boss, since he liked to listen to them as part of his morning work commute, so he could keep up with all the departmental meetings. One lesson I've learned from these stories is that you should always have something recording when you encounter an entitled person, because who knows what kind of wild accusations they'll just start shooting out of nowhere. And as we've all seen countless times in these stories, they are pretty wild accusations. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.